time doing great things in the community. Joyce, thank you and welcome to Grace in Motion.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. The pleasure's mine again. Joyce, let's get started here. Now, of course, you are from Boston and a whole lot of other great things that are associated with your background, the hard times coming up, the gifts and the blessings that was touched on your life. Please tell us where you're from. Who are you, Joyce, and what brought you to where you are today?
Well, I think my prison experience that I experienced growing up, I grew up in the housing projects in Boston. I have 4 siblings. I grew up in a dysfunctional home. My dad was alcoholic. My mom was an abused wife. And just what comes with living in the housing projects, living with the ghetto, that type of mentality that you may not experience it in the home, but you experience in the community. It's a part of life. Even though growing up we thought, you know, it was pretty good, but still, abuse is abuse, and you recognize it as a child, you feel it as a child. Fortunately, I was blessed in that I was able to get a private, a scholarship to a private high school, private undergraduate school, and a private college. I got my master's in psychiatric social work, which helped me to understand my past and also to escape it, to escape my prison type experience. So I've used that to help others. I've done counseling. I did counseling in Boston. And also decided at one point that I wanted to move to Atlanta, the Mecca for, especially for blacks. Continue to do counseling here, loved the city, and then went on and decided I wanted some of the property, some of the land. I wanted to be able to leave a legacy, something for my descendants. At this point in my life, I'm more concerned with leaving a spiritual legacy. You can have all the houses and investment properties, but I think what's important is, at this point, is reaching back, empowering others so that they don't have to go through the same type of experiences that I went through as a child, as a young adult, as a young woman. That are specific to being black in America, being female in America. And God revealed to me in both these books roadmaps. The first one, How to Be the Head and Not the Tail, a Christian manifesto for making 6 figures. I talk about how I made 6 figures when all hell had broken loose in my house. I have, in my family rather, I have 2 schizophrenic brothers. And my dad had terminal prostate cancer. He was in the latter stages. And my mom was in the advanced stages of Alzheimer's disease. So trying to shuffle that as a mother, as a real estate broker, as a wife, and as a child to my parents. But at that point, the child had to become the parent, because as you know, as our parents get older in age, the roles are reversed. So in spite of all that, I had to, I felt it was important to write it down so others know that you can go through dysfunction and come out on top as the head.
And you know, I tell you, as I listen to you share, it's like if you grow up in an environment where a specific something is prevalent, you know, it's just natural that it becomes natural to you. In that, I know great ball players usually come from great ball players. Great singers usually come from great entertainers. And you came from an environment where, you know, there was trauma and tragedy. So for you to go into counseling seemed almost protocol. And I guess I say that to ask this question: with all of the experiences that you encountered in your life, your brothers, moms, pops, all of your other siblings, I guess writing this workshop that you are proposing and presenting to our community for our women, it wasn't that difficult, or was it? And tell us more about the workshop, please.
I think it's a natural flow. The second book, How to Get to the Palace from Your Prison, Joseph's 14-step program to overcome loneliness, depression, discrimination, barrenness, and abuse. Really, the workshops flow from that material. And also at this point, with my counseling background, I wanted it to be more interactive. I think people can read a book, but when they go through the experience and you show them, and that's the value of a good counselor, because they'll help you to move through those stages. It's one thing to say, okay, there's dysfunction in your life, but the question is, how do I process it? What we do in these women empowerment seminars is to actually show individuals how to process it, and for those that want to be group leaders, show them how, when they walk away from the seminar, they can continue when they go back to their communities to serve as that group leader.
Awesome, awesome. And I just want to share with our viewing audience that they're going to be seeing a number of photos throughout the process of this show, and they'll be able to relate these photos to the things that we're talking about at this point, as we exemplified via the books that we had in front of the camera, and how we're going to be showing the little babies. And I say that because when we deal with these workshops, you know, we're basically talking about a blank tape. You know, when we come here to this earth, I think we represent nothing but a blank tape. In other words, like the two babies that are going to be shown, that they hadn't already been aired a moment ago, those little innocent babies are sitting there. They're looking at the world as if, what are you going to put on my tape? Is it going to be jazz? Is it going to be hard rock? Is it going to be harmony, melody? What is it going to be? And so they don't know, but here we are. We've gone through some things, and now here we are trying to cope with those things. But in the process, just like us as infants, we're forever, we don't know what we're going to be, but I guess we as adults want to find out what our gifts are. And we have to discover our gifts. Or do we? Are we born with gifts? Or are gifts something that we have to, as time progresses, discover?
Well, I think gifts come from God. Joseph had an ornamented robe. That robe symbolized his gift. We all have different types of robes. I think the goal, what you want to do, is to find out, what am I here for? Am I here to be an Obama? Am I here to be a Condoleezza Rice? Am I here to be a surgeon? Unfortunately, what happens, though, people come with those gifts, but somehow they get disrobed. Joseph got disrobed. His brothers were envious and jealous. We experience that same thing. We may call it sibling rivalry, whatever we call it. Somehow, unfortunately, we get disrobed. It may not be in your family. It may be at school. It may be at church. It may be on the job. Somehow this dysfunctional behavior enters in. And the task is, how do you overcome that dysfunctional behavior so that you fulfill your role as to what you're put here on earth to do?
No, so let me ask you this, Joyce. I mean, there are a lot of people walking around this world, and I don't know, sometimes they scratch their heads and they say, what am I here for? What is it all about? You know, they go into cycles, you know what I mean? Yeah, there are a few of us who feel like we've been given a calling to do something because of what we've been through, where we've come from. Do everyone have a gift? And if they do, how do they discover it?
I think we have gifts. I think we have talents. Oftentimes people will say it to you, but because it is a gift and you do it naturally, you don't recognize it as something unique that you can make money with. I mean, that's your calling. That's your, the spiritual world, we say that's your anointing. I think another way you can recognize your gifts are by dreams. Joseph was a dreamer. God was revealing to him in his dreams what his purpose was on life. I too, that's one of the reasons why I wrote the book, was I realized that, you know, God is speaking to me through my dreams. And I started to write them down. Someone had told me that, and this was in church, I didn't even know the person, but he said, write down your dreams, write down your visions. And as I've done that and I've reviewed, then I'm able to see that, okay, there's a pattern. It's like as we go through life, it's like a massive jigsaw puzzle. And we put the pieces together. But that's the role, and that's what we do in the workshops, is we figure out what those pieces are. I take the participant through those stages so that they start to discover who they are and why they're here.
So my question is, do the gift